Don't use your energy to worry. Use your energy to believe, create, trust, grow, and heal. Focus on the good stuff. It's way more powerful than worrying. You yourself know overthinking is messing you up. Now is the time you take action and work on it.
Wow, so true, so true. A lot of times, worry does a lot of damage to us that we don't even know, both to our health, our mental health, our physical health, and even our relationships. And so, I just want to share with you some tips to help you manage worry. The first one I want to share with you is that trust God that everything will work together for your good. I know that sometimes it doesn't seem like it. How will it work together for my good, you may ask? But you see, you need to learn to trust that God will use whatever you're going through to work together for your good. I'll give you an example. So it was time when I moved to Abuja and I'd already seen a house that we're going to move into. And we already planned, okay, we're going to move to the place. And we got into Abuja, my family and I. And the moment we got landed in the airport, we drove straight to the place. And by the time we got there, we found out the house had been taken and the other one that would have been available wasn't good enough. And so we had to go look for another house. And before we knew it, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, we had not gotten a house. 2 months, we had not got a house. And at that point, sometimes I would feel like, God, what's going on? I didn't plan that by this time I wouldn't have settled down in Abuja. I didn't plan that by this time my family and I wouldn't have been in our own house and the rest. But by the third month, I just began to relax that God, you work something good. You work, no, not by the third, maybe like the second month, God, you work something good. But should I tell you that today I'm glad that I didn't get a house that I wanted to get in the place I wanted to get in Abuja for many reasons. Because I was just moving to Abuja, even though I'd come to Abuja several times, but I'd not lived in Abuja for a long time to see the advantage and the disadvantage of staying in certain places. I was just working with the assumption that where I wanted to stay, after all, the distance on the road wasn't too far to the city or to main places in town and the rest. So I was ready to stay at that place. But I'm glad today that I didn't stay there. Every now and then, when I drive from where I'm staying now to where sometimes I do some businesses and go to some places, and it's just like a 10 minutes drive, 15 minutes drive. I'm just so excited that I did not stay there. But at that time, it didn't make sense that God was happening. We had planned, we had thought that by this time things will happen. So you need to learn to trust God. You need to learn to trust God. It may not make sense today, but over time, when you look back, you will understand why sometimes God allowed you to go through the path you're going through. So the second thing I want to say is that focus on what you can control. A lot of times, there are things you can't control beyond your control. Rather than worrying about them, focus on what you can control. Make a list of possible solutions for your worries and take actions on the ones you can influence. So there are things you cannot influence. Take actions on the one you can influence. Then the third thing is that focus on the good stuff. A lot of times, one part of our life may not be working the way we want it to work. Maybe somebody is not yet married at a certain age and the person is getting worried that he's not married. But the question is, are there other parts of your life that is working? Is your health working? Do you have a good job or a business that is bringing in income? Do you have good relationship, parents, family members, church families, relationship around you? Do you have other things working for you? Why don't you focus on the ones that are working for you? When you're trusting God that the part that is seem not to be working will finally work. So focus on the good stuff. Then, fourthly, practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. You see, a lot of times when we focus on our worry or focus on certain areas and begin to worry, we forget that there are other areas that are working and we are not grateful for those areas. But you see, when you begin to practice gratitude, sometimes just take time and begin to think, begin to count your blessings, begin to write down the things that are working in your life and begin to be grateful for it. You realize that people that are not grateful for the things that are working find it hard to worry. And even when they find themselves worrying, they immediately catch themselves when they practice gratitude. So do it a lot. Don't just thank God for what is working and what is happening in your life just only when you are having your devotions or only when you're in church. Every now and then, just thank God. So you go out, you come back home, just say, Father, I thank you. You get a good meal, Father, I thank you. You got little things. Practice gratitude. Then the last one is that stop imagining bad possible outcomes. Stop imagining bad possible outcomes. In fact, one of the reasons or one of the ways we worry is that we imagine bad possible outcomes. So let's give an example. Your landlord has given you a quick notice and said, okay, vacate my house in maybe 6 months time or 3 months time and the rest. And at that point, you begin to worry because you're already imagining bad possible outcomes. You already imagine, how am I going to get money to move to another house? The cost of living or the cost of house rent has gone so high. Oh God, what will I do? I didn't plan for everything. See, that is you already imagining bad outcome. What if you begin to imagine that, okay, maybe God has something better for me. Maybe it's time for me to move to a better house, or maybe it's time for me to begin to make plans to get my own house. Maybe it's time for me to move from this part of town to another part of town. See, I've experienced this, and I can tell you from experience, I've had like two quick notices since I started renting my own house. I remember the first one after we got married, I think 2 years or so, we're given a quick notice because we had issues with the security person of the house, and the landlord obviously didn't want us to um ask the question, but for whatever reasons, it gave us quick notice. But do you know amazing thing that when we moved there, we moved to a better part of town and a bigger house and a better house. And where we're staying, we're managing the light situation. Like the light situation was epileptic, but we're managing it because at that point we felt we didn't have any option. But when we moved to the electricity was better and it was bigger. And thank God that we got that quick notice, because maybe we would have stayed there for a longer time. The second time it happened was where I was staying in Lagos and Lekki, and also it happened again because the house was already being sold. Somebody else had bought the house, so we had to leave the house, and the person that bought the house wanted to move in into the house, and we even knew the person because the person was living even within the same estate. At that point, it was like, God, what's happening again? We've just stayed there for 2 years. But do you know that quick notice helped us to be able to move out of the estate and move to where we are staying now in Abuja? Looking back, I'm glad that it happened, because there are people living in that same estate that want to move out, but they've not moved out because probably financial reasons or whatever reasons, but they really want to move out because of certain conditions that are no more favorable in that particular estate. So looking back, I'm realizing that if I was just focusing on the bad possible outcomes, I would have been worried unnecessarily. But I've always had this mindset that no matter what happens, I've always imagined something good that will come out of it. If something bad happens to me, I've trained my mind to always think about something good that will come out of it. It might be a quick notice, it might be a little accident on the road, it might be a business that did not work out, or whatever it is. Even right from when I was not yet married, maybe in a relationship that did not work out, I'll tell myself, it's their own loss. It's not my own loss. Somebody better is in store for me, waiting for me, and it will work out for my good. So begin to practice always imagining good outcomes from bad situations. And if you practice those few points I've given and some other points, I'm sure that you'll be able to deal with worry. And the last one, let me just give you a last final tip. If you've tried everything you can try and you cannot help yourself, seek professional help, seek counsel, either from a professional counselor, a therapist, a pastor, or reach out to me and I will help you whatever way I can help you. My wife is a therapist, professional one. I'll tag her and put it here, and you can reach out to her for help. I want to tell you that worry will affect your health. It will bring sicknesses to you. It will affect your mental health. It will affect relationships. It might even leave you in a life where you begin to attract negative things happening just because you're living in worry. And even Jesus Christ said, why worry? Why worry? Trust God. I hope this has been a blessing. If it's been a blessing, share to other people. Drop your comment if you've had experiences about this, how worry affected you, or how you're doing it and not live by worry. I hope this has been a blessing. Thank you very much. God bless you. And if you're not following, please follow, subscribe, share, and do everything. Thank you very much. God bless you. Bye.